Stream announcements. Podcast stream is live. Okay, it's now to fix your audio because I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you actually have the mic on.
Yeah.
So let's get this right here up, and then let's get this right here. This is funny because this is the first time I'm going to use this in reverse and actually use my main computer screen for the stream settings. This is weird. It's like it doesn't fit in this screen. Yeah, speak please.
Hello.
Okay, you're definitely dominating me, so give me a second to fix this.
Okay.
Speak again.
Hello. Hello there.
Dang, girl, this is gonna make me look bad. Let's try this again.
Well, when Sam said that this mic is like really sensitive.
Yeah.
I'm like 2 feet away from the mic.
Yeah, this is perfect, I think, right here, because I'm just watching the desktop and mic aux as separate things show me how far up the spectrum we're going as far as noise goes. So I think we're good. I gotta check and see really quick. So I'm gonna do you a solid, and I'm gonna mute for this part so you don't hear yourself. But I'll.
Okay, thank you for that.
Let's see. But it can still hear me. Hi, everyone. I'll just tell you to speak really quick. Do me a solid and kind of talk.
Macaroni with the chicken strips.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. It's gonna hear an
hello,
echo for a second.
Everyone.
Yeah, this is weird.
No. A B C
okay,
D E F G.
We're good.
We're good? Okay.
Not to make you feel weird or out of place, but like there was just a point where we were both talking at the same time, but neither. But you couldn't hear me, so it was really good. I just needed to know when we were both talking at the same time who dominated who, and or if you could even hear one of us talking. It actually spreads them apart, and you can hear both, which is interesting because I've never seen that happen before.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. All right. Now I got to do yet another bit where I create yet another window.
Yes. Windows upon windows.
I'm so stacked with these at this point. Window capture. Yes, this is what we're looking for. Perfect. And then if I'm good enough at this, I can just do that. And then drag it up just a hair. There, now.
Now?
Yeah.
Now? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except that our profile pictures are so similarly colored.
I figured I'd go with this one.
I like it. And then there's me, still 6 inches tall.
Yes.
I still find it funny that no one has really noticed the fact that my profile picture is me standing next to your foot. That's exactly what is happening right now.
Yep.
Oh, let me change the title because I realized this is not from yesterday. Sober Mumblings podcast. All right. At this point, the VOD is the podcast, so it just hears everything we've just said, which is exactly how I want every single one of them to start. It's just the audio processing, and then once I upload them to an actual podcast thing, I'll edit them. But for now, frick it, I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
I spent an hour today and only found 5 or 6 clips, so I think I need a minute. Let's see. Or actually, like 2 hours.
2 hours. Oh.
For forgetting that we can't say idiots and in the live notification.
Oh.
So it just says Village iDots on podcast.
Okay.
which in my opinion is more suiting, but either way. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You know what? It works. It's fine.
It
It
works.
works.
It just works.
It just works.
Yes. All right. Well, here we are.
Yes.
Episode 2. Or whatever
Episode.
order I decide to put these in. Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably 2, but actually we could end up just doing like 2 or like cuz if we do an hour-long podcast, we could record 2 of them and then I could split them and stream twice.
Yeah.
So we could do that. But I could also just,
Well,
figure that out as we
yes.
go along if we have the energy for it.
Or the intelligence, you know.
Well, you don't really need intelligence. You just need to be able to talk about something that someone else discovered.
Yeah.
So,
True.
as long as we can read, we should be fine. Which I actually need my glasses for, and I'm realizing. I gotta go find them really quick. Hang on, I'll be right back. I didn't think this through. This was a mistake.
Joe! Joe, how could you? Joe, how could you?
Dang it, Joe. That should be my patent pending, catchphrase. Dang it, Joe. Because I'm just talking to myself in the third person.
Make it into a t-shirt or something.
You fool. Dang it, Joe, you fool.
You absolute fool. I just spat all over myself. What the heck?
Wow, was it worth it?
Yeah, for the sound bit,
for the bit, yeah, for the bit.
Clip it. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be clipped and it'll go on my second channel. Anyway. Yeah, all right. So, who wants to do the honors of going first with their topic? Also, let me quickly change this.
Well, chronologically speaking,
Your guys first or my guys first?
I go first.
Okay.
Your guys in chapter 13. Mine's in chapter 3.
Sweet. Should we explain what we're doing?
Yeah. Do you want to do it or should I?
I'll do it. Basically,
all right, go ahead.
Today's podcast is going to include the most random stories we could find in the book of Judges in the Bible because despite popular belief, there is like historical facts in the Bible, and they are kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie to you.
They're wild. Just wait until you hear Joe's dude, Samson. Everybody knows the name Samson.
Yes, because
they've heard it one way or another.
Super strong dude. Just wait till you hear like some of the things you could turn some of the like sentences they use. It's gonna be so good. Anyway,
Samson has 3 whole chapters in the book of Judges. It is the very last 3 chapters.
Yes.
So,
and he basically, it just says, here's the dude, and then here's what he was able to do, and then here's how he died. That's like essentially the very, 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 very brief description of exactly what those 3 books are.
That's basically all of them as you go through them all. You know, this is the person, this is what they did, this is what they were needed for, and yeah.
Exactly.
That's essentially it. So
first
need
things
a pulling
first.
thread?
I need to pull up your hang on, let me swap to the right screen for just a second. Let me pull up your guy.
Yeah, I'll pull up my guy too.
All right, what do I?
You good?
Yeah, just have to X something off screen. Anyway,
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, let me get my stream back on track and yet another window, boys.
Yes, the growing list of windows. Here we go.
I hope that I can't find the bottom of this list at some point. Yes, window
goodness.
capture, and then we just want this. Yes, okay. Doesn't have to necessarily fit the whole screen, because I don't particularly care if it does. That's good enough. Alright.
It's good enough.
Yeah, wiki page.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
take it away, Q.
Yeah. Alright. So, for everyone listening, I have this guy named Ehud. Now, this dude, Ehud, he's an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. And one notable thing is that he was left-handed. If my memory serves me correct, I believe that those who were left-handed were set aside to be specially trained for whatever reason. I can't exactly remember what it was for, but I just remember reading that in one of my many books from learning about these people. But anyway, so if anybody remembers or knows any sort of history regarding the Jewish people, during the time of Judges, the Israelites were in exile because they were wusses, okay? They didn't want to go into the land of Canaan just yet, just because there were giants there. Like, the majority was just like, nah, dude, we ain't going in there. We're like bugs. We're getting squashed, right? So, uh, so God didn't like. God was like fed up with them, right? So he's like, all right, fine. You get to wander around for 40 years until you whiners all die off. And this takes like 40 years. This ensures like 2 generations to be born and get it grow up and stuff. But anyway, so come the book of Judges, this is when Judges comes after Joshua, and during Joshua is when the people of Israel take the land for themselves. And so Judges is this just people getting settled into the land and all that stuff, I believe.
Yeah.
And stuff happens, as it always does. And what happens, when bad things happen, people complain. So they cry out to God, like the children they are, and they're like, Dad, help! And so God, as the ever-loving Father he is, he sends them this judge to help them get back in track of whatever wrong thing they were doing. So here we have Ehud, who is the second judge of the people of Israel. Now, he's a Benjamite, and he was left-handed. So during the time of Ehud, let's see, I'm looking through my Bible, and okay. So the people of Israel served Eglon, the king of Moab, for 18 years. This is in Judges chapter 3, verse 14. So the people cried out to the Lord, and the Lord raised up to them a deliverer, Ehud, the son of Gera, the Benjamite, a left-handed man. The people of Israel sent tribute by him to Eglon, the king of Moab. And Ehud made for himself...
Wait, hold on. Back up just a second. Back up for just 1 second. In the CSB version, it says, and I quote, verse 17 says, and brought the tribute to King Eglon of Moab, who was an extremely fat man.
Oh, yes. This is very important, people. Eglon was just absolutely massive.
They called him Eglon for a reason.
Yeah.
Shaped like an egg.
Yes. Yeah. So.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So, left-handed man sent his tribute. And Ehud made for himself a sword with 2 edges, a cubit in length. Side note, a cubit is about the length of, I think, from your wrist to your elbow, I believe.
Dang.
I don't know. I could be wrong. Anyway, and he bound it on his right thigh under his clothes. And he presented the tribute to Eglon, king of Moab. Oh, here's the side note that says, now Eglon was a very fat man. That's in chapter 17 in the ESV version.
You mean verse 17?
Yeah,
verse 17. It said it for
Alright,
me.
my bad. Yeah.
So good, so good.
And when Ehud had finished presenting the tribute, he sent away the people who carried the tribute. But he himself turned back at the idols near Gilgal and said, I have a secret message for you, O king. And he commanded, silence. And all his attendants went out from his presence. And Ehud came to him as he was sitting alone in his cool roof chamber. Because, in this area of Moab, it is very warm.
Cool roof chamber.
Cool roof chamber. Does it say something else in your version?
What verse is that in? I'm not...
where is it? That's verse 20.
Oh, I gotta go back a page. I was reading it. A person while he was sitting alone in his upstairs room where it was cool. I mean...
Cool roof chamber. That's...
I just don't remember there ever being an attic that was cool, but I guess back then...
They didn't know the meaning of upstairs, downstairs, perhaps, or the translation is just screwed. Anyway, so, cool roof chamber. And I have a message from God for you. And he arose from his seat. Verse 21. And Ehud reached with his left hand, took the sword from his right thigh, and thrust it into his belly. Into the belly of King Eglon, mind you.
So a fat one. This dude, what?
Yeah, the fat dude. He just stabbed him in the stomach.
And he was fat no more.
Yeah.
You just hear a faint deflating sound.
He deflates like a whoopee cushion. Okay. Verse 22. And the hilt also went in after the blade, and the fat closed over the blade, for he did not pull the sword out of his belly. And the dung came out.
This is so graphic.
Man's pierced his large intestine, I bet, and he just absolute crud coming out. So
it would have actually sounded like...
Hold on. I just got this funny image in my head. So imagine just Ehud unwrapping his left hand from the hilt of the sword, and he takes back his hand, and it's just absolutely covered in crap, and he walks away, just like, and shaking his hand out away from him. I don't know. That's definitely not what happened. People were built different back in the ancient world, but just imagine. It's funny, okay?
Like I said, some of these stories are just so...
Yeah, this is history. This is the Israelite history. This is actual history, people.
The fact that it clarifies...
Go read the Bible. If nothing else, read the Bible for history.
Yeah,
you might learn a thing or two from these absolutely cracked Israelites. Let me tell you.
The fact that it clarifies, by the way, I think the best part of this entire section so far is the fact that it clarifies that his sword just kept going, and the fat eventually just closed over it, and that was it. And then there was no sword. It would be like if someone...
It just sucked it in.
It's like one of those big old beanbag things people jump on, and when they do, they just sink into it and you can't see them anymore. That's what I imagine, but like with a sword in a fat dude's belly. Like that's...
Yeah. Okay. Alright. Verse 23. Then Ehud went out into the porch and closed the doors of the roof chamber behind him and locked them. Bro, I hope he didn't do that with his poopy hand. Come on, bro.
Oh.
When he had gone, the servants came, and when they saw that the doors of the roof chamber were locked, they thought, surely he is relieving himself in the closet of the cool chamber. They thought he was going to the bathroom.
They dude's taking a dump after he just murdered someone and has crap all over his hand. He's like, I gotta go, dude. I'll be right back. I gotta go finish some business.
No, the servants thought the king was going to the bathroom, not Ehud.
He was relieving himself in the cool.
Yeah, in the closet of the cool.
The cool closet, yeah.
The cool closet. And they waited till they were embarrassed. But when he still did not open the doors of the roof chamber, they took the key and opened them. And there lay their lord dead on the floor.
A fat man just lying there, taking a dump, but like died while he was taking a dump.
No, trigger warning. Let me just get a little graphic if at the moment. Mans is probably out on the floor in a pool of his own blood and like guts and just crap. Like everything just coming out. Sorry. I don't know if you'll have
this
to
will be a
that
no. This will
but...
be a not safe for children episode. It's fine. It's fine.
NSFW, let's go. Anyway, verse 26. Ehud escaped while they delayed, and he passed beyond the idols and escaped Sarah. I don't know how to say that correctly. When he arrived, he sounded the trumpet in the hill country of Ephraim. Then the people of Israel went down with him from the hill country, and he was their leader. And he said to them, follow after me, for the Lord has given your enemies, the Moabites, into your hand. So they went down after him and seized the fords of the Jordan against the Moabites and did not allow anyone to pass over. And they killed at that time about 10,000 of the Moabites, all strong, able-bodied men. Not a man escaped. So Moab was subdued that day under the hand of Israel, and the land had rest for 80 years. And thus was Ehud.
Okay. That was really good. So, so now let's turn our attentions to the wiki page, which is currently up on stream. So,
a biblical narrative section looks like like a
what you
secondhand
just did.
telling of what I just said.
Yeah. So let's see. Let me see. They have references. This is a very short one compared to the one I'm gonna have. Let's see the criticisms. Let's see what people think is wrong with this story.
Yeah, let's see.
All right, so I'll do this part because I'm on screen. Yeah. So there's it says this. Coogan argues that the story of Ehud was probably a folk tale of local origin that was edited by Deuteron.
No mistake, historians.
Yeah. Let me let someone else do that. And then those historians incorporated a variety of previously existing sources into their narrative of life in early Israel. The end of the story, Ehud is one such example of a previously existing source that has been edited to include the cyclical pattern.
Typical stories of the major judges.
This pattern consists of apostasy, hardship, crying out to the Lord, and rescue. It is clearly present in the tale of Ehud. Apostasy and hardship occur in Judges 3:12. The Israelites, it's just quoting what we just did.
Yeah.
And then, but there's cried out to the Lord raised up a deliverer. Yeah, the rather lively and glorious tale is ended with a refrain of and the land had rest 80 years. An ending temple to Gideon. Another major judge stories in the book of Judges. He was second judge chosen by God. So, in other words, this guy was just like, yeah, this is fake. These dudes just made up a legend.
Well,
but
if you think about it, what I just read seems quite
It
far-fetched, don't you
does,
think?
but
It's so real that it sounds fake.
it also is something where the more you think about stuff specifically like that, it's like, okay, it's written in
Yeah.
the Bible, and like how stoned would you have to be to dream this one up? Like, and specifically with details of like, almost able to picture what is happening like lively, and
Yeah.
also like there's nothing really far-fetched, or there's not like a running background narrative where you're suddenly seeing like other things behind what's going on. It's just
Yes.
a left-handed dude is like super strong, and Israel's like, we're kind of screwed, and then he just kind of says, I got y'all, and then just stabs a fat
I
dude.
got you, fam. He
Like,
goes, he just stabs the dude, and yeah.
it's it's just so, like I said, even if you want to remove like the wildness of maybe how strong he was, and consider just the idea that this is historically speaking something that actually happened, and it's how like land and power shifted at this time, you
Yes.
either way you get something edible from this. But either way, it's still just amazing to hear some random dude like was just really strong with a left hand. He had a really strong left, boys.
Bruh.
That
Bruh.
man could cross you. Like he would have put some knots in you. Or holes in you.
Bruh.
But yeah, no. I mean, it's a pretty good story. It's pretty good.
It's a very good story.
It's
Whether
just
you believe
yeah.
it or not, it's just absolutely wild, let me tell you.
Yes, it is. All right. It's my turn.
Yeah. Your turn.
So, I present to you, therefore, Samson, one of the
Ooh.
one of the more well-known judges. A lot of people would have heard of Samson, likely through either VeggieTales cartoon, or I don't know, maybe as they were growing up, some weird, fever dream-ish type story where this dude was just able to like freaking, destroy things with his bare
Yeah.
hands, right? I mean, considering
Yeah.
the image on screen for this wiki page is him tearing a lion open, you kind of wonder. I did not need to open that twice. Anyway,
Bruh.
anyway, so let's go Judges. So the story takes place first of all in Judges 13 through 16, which is essentially
16.
just
Yeah.
it's just Samson. That's all it is.
Three whole chapters.
Of this
3 whole chapters.
wild
Of this one
storytelling.
guy. This one guy.
Yeah. This dude had to have done something like crazy if they wrote 3 whole chapters about him in Judges. I mean, think about how crazy Ehud was, and he got like a chapter and like a quarter of a chapter, or no, like
Not
3/4
even
of a chapter.
a whole chapter.
Yeah.
Just like what is that? Verses 12 to
Through 30, yeah.
That's like
That's half of it, right at half of it, or a little
Yeah.
over half of it. Anyway,
yeah. Bruh.
so we get the birth of Samson, which is chapter 13 is basically just like, here's how Samson came to be, and then it kind of skips ahead a little bit. I'll read off a little bit of what happened. Verse 1, the Israelites again did what was evil in the Lord's sight. So right away, most of Judges is just Israelites being dumb, and then God being like, I gotta like fix y'all again? Really? Y'all are kidding, right? Like, I gave you the land, I gave you like prosperous things, and yet here you are. It's almost like it's a cycle, that when you get more things, you become more ungrateful for them. And he's just like, watch this.
Exactly.
Every time. So, anyway, so the Lord handed them over to the Philistines for 40 years. There was a certain man from Zorah, from the family of Dan, whose name was Manoah. His wife was unable to conceive and had no children. What a random detail, but okay. The angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, "It is true that you are unable to conceive and have no children, but you will conceive and give birth to a son." I'm not gonna lie, I wonder how that went down. Anyway.
Well,
think about that.
Well,
you're like, I can't have children, and then God's just like, yeah, watch this. You're gonna have a son, dude. Like, watch. And then she's just like, I think you're insane, but like also you're kind of God, so maybe that is possible. Especially since
Yeah.
Abraham
Yes.
and Sarah did nearly the same thing. They were like, oh really? But they actually
This,
called bets. They were like, no, I don't think
yeah.
so, and they tried a
This
different way.
now, this whole song of and dance of a woman not being able to conceive and God just showing up
Yeah.
through an angel, like, hey, I'm gonna give you a kid. Just watch.
Yeah.
And the woman's like, nah, not possible.
Yeah.
And God's like, yeah, I'm God.
Yeah.
It's happened like so
Every time.
many times.
Literally, the savior of the world came through.
Exactly.
She was like, I'm not even freaking married, dude. I've never been with a man. And she's just like,
Exactly.
suddenly I have a child. What the frick? Yeah, I mean, the Lord works in mysterious ways. Some of those mysterious ways would concern people if they really thought about it, but but it's miraculous.
But even if they did try to think about it, it's most likely wrong because
Yes.
like it
Exactly.
is absolutely.
It's so far back in
in-
history that there's
yeah.
no telling what it looked like. Anyway.
Yeah.
Continuing on, basically, it goes on to say, is it true, it is true that you are unable to, but you will conceive a birth to a son. Now, please be careful not to drink wine or beer or eat anything unclean, for indeed you will conceive and give birth to a son. You must never cut his hair, because the boy will be a Nazarite to God from birth, and he will begin to save Israel from the power of the Philistines. Okay. It just gets better, because after he's just like, yeah, you can't conceive, but you're gonna conceive, but like, he's gonna be like, you can't drink wine or beer, and you have to make sure you don't eat anything unclean, which is
I'm
basically
gonna
like
give
telling,
you a kid.
yeah,
Here's all the terms
you gotta
and
go on a
conditions.
diet so the kid is okay. And
Yeah.
then once he's born, like, don't cut his hair. His hair is off limits, bro. And like, I can imagine.
Don't touch it. Don't
Yeah.
touch it.
Part of me is this, like, thinking it this way, right? This dude's hair, like, imagine a child being born with like Rapunzel's hair. Just a baby named Samson with hair that's longer than he is. That's
Bro,
just exactly what I pictured.
Think about how they pulled that out of her womb.
Ugh.
That's
I don't see, the thing is,
disgusting.
we know he didn't have hair like that, but I just picture that. I'm sorry, I have issues.
Ugh.
There it is. Anyway,
Bro, you're telling this to a girl.
yeah, no. I didn't mean coming out of the womb. I meant like he was just like at a young age, like 2 years old. He had hair that went down to his toes.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't saying like right out the gate. Like, no,
Bruh.
that's different. That's yikes. I don't even want to think about that. Yeah, I'm good.
No.
I'm good. We'll move
No.
on.
Yeah,
Then the
we'll move
woman went and told her husband. She just said, yeah, this dude came to me in a dream. A man of God came to me. He looked like an awe-inspiring angel of God. It's a man, but it's like an angel as well. I didn't ask him where he came from. I didn't ask questions, guys.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell me his name. He's so this sounds so fricked. But it's too good not to be true. There we go. He said to me, "You will conceive and give birth to a son." Therefore, basically repeating what she just heard to the man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, "Please, Lord, let the man of God you sent come again to us. Teach us what we should do for the boy who will be born." So now, after this dude came and they were like, "Don't ask questions," they want him to come back so they can ask questions. Okay.
Bruh. Bruh.
This is all kinds of weird. Anyway, so then we get like the whole.
One job.
Yeah, one job. God listened to
job.
Manoah, and the angel of God came again to the woman. She was, so he sent him back. She was sitting in the field, and her husband Manoah was not with her. Once again, she's alone for this, which I think
Yeah.
makes. By the way, if the Bible was trying to be false or trying to be true, this would not have occurred. They would have written it like this because this is back, I think, as well during the time when women weren't considered like verifiable witnesses. So for
Yeah.
her to be alone in a field with a dude saying, "Hey, you're gonna have a child," and then she had a child, his name was Samson, and everything he said came true. Just saying, if you were trying to push a true story as a fake one, you're not doing a very good job.
No.
Anyway,
No.
so the woman By the way, another one. The fact that they verified that he was not with her is another random thing that
Yeah.
what it wouldn't matter if you were trying
Who would take the time
yeah,
to add
yeah.
that in?
The woman
Who
ran
would take
quickly
the
to
time
her
to add that in?
husband and told him. So now she's had this experience with this man, and she goes back for it. She's like, dude, come here. He came back, dude. He came back. At this point, if I were the man, I'd be like, this man came back. All right, I didn't even meet him. Cracking knuckles. Anyway, when he came, he asked, "Are you the man who spoke?" Oh wait, he actually did.
Oh my goodness. Oh, he did.
He legitimately did that. That's so good. When your words come true, what will the boy's responsibilities and what will be the boy's responsibilities and work? The angel of the Lord answered, Manoah, your wife needs to do everything I told her. She must not eat anything that comes from the grapevine or drink wine or beer. So don't drink grape juice or eat them either. Your wife must do everything I have commanded her.
Grapes, just don't look at them.
Just don't.
Just don't.
Anyway.
That's not true, but like that's basically like the gist.
Yeah, that's the gist of this. Anyway, please stay here. He's like, this is the first guy who has ever had another guy come up to his wife on multiple occasions, and he tells him to stay. Like, again, separating this from the fact that it's clearly like an angel figure, this just sounds, this is like, why would a man ever do that? Why would he invite him back? Ah! Anyway.
It's wild. It's wild.
I love it. I love it. Anyway, let's see. He basically begs him to stay, and then he goes, we will prepare for you a young goat, which I found interesting. And in fact, I really, really want to know what the frick that means, but I'll get to that later.
Yeah.
We'll go back to young goats, because I'm pretty sure they're a recurring thing anyway. All right, so then he offers stuff up to the Lord. I'm going to start speeding a little bit through this, because I want to get to the good stuff. What does he say? He says, what is your name? Basically, guys, like, what does it matter to you? You will never understand it anyway. And then he took a young goat, grain of offering, and offered them on a rock to the Lord. Nice. Who did something miraculous while Manoah and his wife were watching. Anyway, when the flame went up from the altar to the sky, the angel of the Lord went up in its flame. So this dude just disappeared in a fire. Yeah. Anyway, we move on. Then he didn't appear again to the wife, so I'm pretty sure he's like, okay, cool, I don't have to deal with that guy anymore. No, I'm joking. We're certainly... then Manoah realized that it was an angel of the Lord, and he's like, we're certainly going to die, he said to his wife, because we have seen God. Well, actually, no, you haven't, because if you did, you would have actually died. Yeah, Moses tried that. It didn't work. Dude turned, like, white immediately. His entire hair was, like, went from, like, brown to, like, I've seen the face of God. Suddenly it's just gray.
He went aged white at, like, tender age of, like, 30
I was about to say, my man aged 50 years in 10 minutes. Like, that's all it took. He went up a mountain.
10 minutes. Just a just a single glance, really.
He went up a mountain. And he went up a mountain looking young and came back and looked like he was the grandfather of everyone that was still down there. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway. So he said, but his wife said to him, if the Lord had intended to kill us, he wouldn't have accepted the burnt offering. You know, basically, they were really paranoid they were going to die. I'm not going to lie. I've been down this road before where I'm like, dude, this is like judgment. What the frick? And then it's like, oh, no, wait. But like, if that were the case, I wouldn't still be standing. Anyway. Now here we get the beginning, the action. By the way, chapter 1, so chapter 13 spends the entirety of the time not even telling you how, like, that Samson was born. It's just like the leading circumstances up to when he was born. Because the last verse is like, so the woman actually did give birth to a dude. He named him Samson. The boy grew, and the Lord blessed him. The Spirit of the Lord began to stir in him in the camp of Dan between Zorah and Eshtaol, or Eshtaol. I don't know how you say that word.
Eshtaol.
Yeah, Eshtaol. Cool. So he's now just like a grown young adult kind of guy. So now Samson's on the move. He's old enough to understand that he's like a dude, and he's got like the blessings of the Lord on him. So he's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So again, Samson went down to Timnah and saw a young Philistine woman there. He went back and told his father and his mother. I've seen this movie before.
Yeah.
I've seen a young Philistine woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as a wife. This dude's the first thing said about Samson after he's born is that he found a woman and he wanted to marry her. Have we not seen this movie 1,000 times?
Exactly.
People in the Bible, by the way, did not waste time. Like, not one of them.
No.
They were like, as soon as they laid eyes on a woman, they were like, I shall marry this woman. And then they did. And there was no one stopping them. Your parents didn't have say. It was like, yeah, dude, you're old enough. As soon as you're old enough, like, basically, they were just like, yeah, dude, actually, we want you to get married. And they would just do it. And it went down. Anyway, so they said, but his father and mother said, and this is, by the way, the only story that doesn't allow, the parents are like, no, bro, you can't. Said to him, can't you find a young woman among your relatives, among your people? Anyway, we'll move on now. And must you go to the uncircumcised Philistine for a wife? So basically, they're like, why would the frick would you go to a different culture for a woman? They're like, this is not, yeah, no, we're supposed to be with the Lord's people. Anyway, it says Samson's like, get her for me anyway, because she's the right one for me. Yet another statement every guy has said before, or at least thought.
Yeah.
Now, his father and mother did not know this was from the Lord, who wanted the Philistines to provide an opportunity for confrontation. At the time, the Philistines were ruling Israel. So they were just like, yeah, we didn't know what was getting ready to happen. And Philistines were kind of just in dominant power. So he went back down to Timnah with his father and his mother and came to the vineyards of Timnah. Suddenly a young lion came roaring up. Here's where it gets good. Soon as something goes wrong, you see Samson actually just activate it. Literally, okay, this one's going to get cute a little bit.
Switch
is literally like Deku activating his powers to the fullest of their power. Like, you just see a man suddenly grow muscle as he goes to make the swing. Except that, unlike Deku, he didn't break every bone in his body doing it. Anyway,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, he just absolutely goes at that lion.
Yeah, young lion came roaring at him. The Spirit of the Lord came powerfully on him, and he tore the lion apart with his bare hands. As he might, by the way, the next sentence is just mind-boggling to me. As you would have torn a young goat. What?
Exactly.
They just did this back then. They just took ghosts and they were just like, yeah, we're going to rip this dude apart. What? See, no, I know that's not what's actually happening.
Yeah. But it's just wild to try and even fathom about.
Yeah.
Just like, bruh.
I think the idea of the word torn here is more like we, slaughtered it and then we opened it to cook and eat, right? Like the whole idea of a processed animal.
Yeah.
But it's just funnier to think that just people back then ripped goats in half. I mean, it's possible.
Well, look at the picture that's on the Wikipedia page of Samson. Dude's got each hand on either side of the lion's jaw.
Look, he's just sitting on the lion.
The lion in half, like, from that way.
Yeah.
Like the giant phone books.
Oh yeah, by the way, here's the jawbone of a donkey, which comes into play later. Anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
He tore a lion as one would tear a young goat. By the way, I heard this from a sermon, and I'm gonna kind of steal it, just because it was pretty funny. Did they do this for date night? Like when a dude was interested in a woman, did they just grab a goat and he just tore it? And it was just, that was how, like, if you couldn't tear a young goat, you're just not capable of having a wife. So date night one, their first test was, can you provide dinner and a show, which is, in other words, can you tear a goat, cook it, and then feed it to her? Like, that's how date night went. Anyway, sorry, that was off topic. That was off topic. All right, but let's be honest. No, real quick, just a quick question. If a dude walked up to you right now and tore a goat in half, would you not be impressed? I mean, even if you weren't interested, would you just not be impressed by the idea?
I would definitely just be absolutely gobsmacked at this man who dared to walk up to me
and just
with
rip
a goat in his hands and just rip it in
exactly.
half. Like, what the heck?
I mean, back then it sounds like it was just normal, so it might not have been that impressive, but Either way,
But still,
he tore the lioness one would tear a young goat. But he did not
yes.
tell his father or mother what he had done. Then he went and spoke to the woman because she seemed right to Samson. Hang on,
No.
I gotta catch myself.
Samson was, yeah.
Because she seemed right. By the way, can we talk about this? Even the Bible
Yes.
was like, yeah, he thought so. Nah, he was wrong. He was wrong.
Nah. Samson was just
yeah.
utterly gone for this woman. What a simp.
For real.
What a simp.
For real.
Dude,
Legit.
what a simp.
Man was willing to tear a lion in half for this woman. Come on. Anyway, after some time, when he returned to marry her, he left the road to see the lion's carcass, and there was a swarm of bees with honey in the carcass. What? He scooped some honey into his hands and ate it as he went along. What?
Did he eat the bees?
He scooped honey. He scooped honey into his hands and he ate as he went along.
Dude, no. If you think about it, them bees are all over that honey,
Yeah.
right? So like
He just went through the bees, stole the honey, and walked away like nothing happened.
Bro, I bet he ate a few of them bees.
I bet he did. But he gave some to his father and mother, but they did not. But he did not tell them that he scooped it from honey from a lion's carcass. I think also context, I'm not entirely sure, but he's not supposed to be like around dead things, which is why it was like don't eat of unclean foods, right?
Oh yeah.
So this is another key part of the story. His rules are don't drink from the vine, don't eat anything that you've murdered, or even I think even be a part of it. Like don't touch it. So that's another key that comes in later. And then like basically don't be a sinful person. That's what was being said here. But like very specifically, these things apparently and don't cut your hair. That was the weakened. Yeah. That was the part where he weakened himself. His father went to visit the woman, and Samson prepared a feast there, as young men were accustomed to do. Like because when you want to get married, you had a wedding ceremony.
Yeah.
When the Philistines saw him, they brought the 30 men to accompany him. And then out of the blue, he just decides, hey guys, want to bet I can outsmart you? I'm going to tell you a riddle. And they're like, if you win, or Samson said to them, if you can explain it to me during the 7 days of the feast and figure it out, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. But if you can't explain it to me, you must give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. They called bets and they said, tell us your riddle. Let's hear it. They basically said, bruh, watch. You think? Think about it. Let's be honest. Yeah. Philistines were like dominant, right? They were seen as like we own this place, and so they probably had higher education. They probably had better, schools. And then he's like from the Israelites, which by the way were dominated. So their education was basically just the idea that they lived outside of it. So if they learned something, it was likely from someone above them. Anyway,
most likely yes.
So that's context. So that's why this is important. So he said to them, out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet. Here's what's funny. I believe that's actually not how it was said in the original language, but in the original language, it would have rhymed. So I do remember that being a key. But anyway, after 3 days, they were unable. Yeah. They didn't even, 3 days later, they were like, yeah, we don't know what the frick he's talking about. They didn't even try. They were like, oh, yeah, 3 days in, they were like, what? And they were like, we still got 4 days. And they just said, no, we're going to cheat right now, bro. This is not working. On the fourth day, they said to Samson's wife, persuade your husband to explain the riddle to us, or we will burn you and your father's family. That sounds familiar.
Straight up threaten the girl.
All I can think of is the King George part of Hamilton, where he's just like, I will kill your friends and family. Except this time they weren't reminding her of their love. They were just saying, if you don't, we will murder you. Yeah, they basically said, if you don't tell us, we will kill you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So Samson's wife came to him weeping, any guy's weakness, and said, you hate me and don't love me. Also every guy's weakness. You told my people the riddle and haven't explained it to me. Look, he said, I haven't explained it to my father and mother, so why explain it to you? This dude dared challenge her. Oh, you forget they own us. Yes. Anyway, she wept a whole 7 days. She just cried for so long.
I bet she was dehydrated almost at one point. She could have just passed out from dehydration. Like, she had to chug so much water in order to keep up many tears.
Can you imagine crying in front of a guy and having to take a water break Like, let's be honest. This just gets better. It just gets better. Anyway,
Yeah.
he said to me, wait, I'm on the wrong page. It blew part. Anyway, my fan just blew my page over, so I didn't. I lost my place. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, here we go. So she wept the whole 7 days of the feast, and at last, on the 7th day, he explained it to her because she had nagged him so much. This dude said, oh, I want to have you marriage. I guess I'll tell her. On the 7th day before sunset, the men of the city said to him, what is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? So he said to them, if you hadn't... So they got the riddle right. This is some really this is some really rough language here, but this is really good. So I'm gonna read what my version says, and then I want you to read the ESV's because I think ESV's is much better. Anyway, so he said to them, if you hadn't plowed with my young cow, you wouldn't have found my riddle out. What does yours say?
If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have found out my riddle. So it's essentially the same thing, but heifer is a young female cow, or just a female cow in general.
I will now quote the sermon from J.D. Greer, where he states out loud, "Men, there are two important things you should learn here. Never." Or is like, do not let other men plow with your wife, and never call your future wife a heifer. And that was his bold, like, profound thing from this.
That was his quote.
Yeah.
The quote for the sermon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It wasn't, but it was like, it was said so powerfully that it could have been. Anyway, so the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully on him, and he went down to Ashkelon and killed 30 of their men. He stripped them and gave them their clothes. So he just said, I don't have it, so I'm just going to go steal it. Yet another thing he's not allowed to be doing. Samson returned to his father's house, and his wife was given to one of the men who had accompanied him. What? Wait. There's no way. Wait. I got to figure this out real quick.
Did he take somebody with him?
Wait.
I thought he would have done it by himself.
His Philistine father-in-law gave his daughter to one of the 30 young men who had been watching Samson. So this dude, literally, like, he gave his daughter over to one of the 30 men that just won this bet.
Bro.
Oh my gosh.
Bro.
So for now, you've got context. By the way, the fact that this is stated at the end of chapter 14 and then the next chapter's subheading is Samson's revenge just goes to show you what happens when you mess with a man's wife. Because here's what happens next. And I'm going to steal another J.D. Greer bit here for this one. Anyway, later on during the wheat harvest, Samson took a young goat as a gift, as you know they do, and visited his wife.
Yeah.
So he By the way, the more and more this gets stated about young goats, the more proof my point had earlier about, you literally just dazzled women into your arms with young goats. Man, I wish that worked today. Anyway, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Bro, somebody might call PETA on you. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm joking. Let me clarify. I don't plan that. No, it will not work. We're more civilized now.
Oh my goodness.
This time I will be. Nope, I've skipped ahead. He took a young goat and visited his wife. I want to go to my wife in her room. He said, but her father would not let him enter. So this is one of those, for anyone who watches romance movies, this is that moment where the guy comes back with flowers, knocks on the door, and the woman has already started in a relationship with another man. And the dad is like, get the frick away, and slams the door shut on him. And he's just left there, with roses or something in his hand, sad as he can be. Anyway, but Samson took it into another level. I was sure you hated her, her father said, so I gave her to one of the men who accompanied you. Isn't her younger sister more beautiful than she is? Wow! Okay. Why not take her instead? Oh my God. That is rough. Samson said to them, this time I will be blameless when I harm the Philistines. He said, I'll be justified, boys. I'm taking them to town.
Yep.
This time I will be blameless when I harm the Philistines. So he went out and caught 300 foxes.
300 foxes with his bare hands.
This dude just has
them by the tails and lights their tails on fire and sets them into their wheat fields.
Okay, but imagine like Minecraft Samson with a 20 by 20 or 18 by 18 fenced in area of flatlands, and he's just grabbing like Minecraft foxes in his hands and just walking them into this fence. And now there's just a whole loaded area with only foxes in them, right? 300 of them to be exact.
Flint and steel sets them on fire and they go running.
Yeah, he literally does that. He said, I got 300 foxes, I torched their tails, and I told them, and I basically just said, go ham. So in other words, he just said, here's 300 foxes, go right, Samson was here in their wheat field. That's, by the way, the joke I'm stealing from J.D. Greer. Is like, this. He said, in quotes, as far as practical jokes go, this is number one. He said, imagine, right, your friend pisses you off, so to get him back, you caught 300 foxes, set their tails on fire, and told them, and like directed them to the field of where he lives, and they just lit it on fire.
Yep.
300 foxes. He looks outside. He thinks the Lord's coming back. This is the end times. This just gets so good. Oh my god. Anyway.
The prank of the century.
Yes.
Let me tell you. This BC, dude. BC people.
They were on some crud.
Absolutely cracked.
Yes, they were on something.
Absolutely cracked.
Absolutely.
Like, my goodness.
All right. Then the Philistines asked, "Who did this?" And they were crying when they did it. Obviously, they were told it was Samson, the Temanite's son-in-law, because he took Samson's wife and gave her to his companion. So the Philistines went to her and her father and burned them to death. Oh my God, they were just mad.
They just killed him.
They did it anyway. She was like, I got you guys. Now, I bet you she was like, they were coming after her. And she was like, but I got you guys the riddle. And they're like, yeah. And then he burned all of our wheat fields. So you guys have to suffer. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. I guarantee it. Anyway. Yeah, so they basically just took the family out. They're like, bye. Star Wars flashbacks. Anyway, then Samson told them, because you did this, I swear I won't rest until I have taken vengeance on you. He tore them limb from limb and then went down and stayed in the cave at a rock. What? He just tore them apart for killing his wife and then just went into a cave.
No, my version says, and he struck them hip and thigh with a great blow, and he went down and stayed in the cleft of the rock of Etam. So mine just sounds like he like dislocated.
Beat them up.
He dislocated like their hips and just like broke their femurs. And then just walked away. And then he went away and just sat in a cave. He probably just like just curled up in the back darkest corner and just cried.
By the way, if you can't sense war coming, this is exactly how it happens. This is war coming right now. Then the Philistines went. By the way, can we talk about the fact that this war literally started because a man gave another man's wife away to another man? This sounds like the start of a war, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway.
Bro, let me just say that the Greek and Roman god of war, like, ain't got nothing on Samson.
No,
let me tell you.
No.
Like
this
absolutely...
Man. Barehanded is just destroying, like, he's full on destroying societies.
This is a man, a human in all of his mortalness and finite understanding. Not some god with powers akin to Superman.
Yeah, no.
This is just a man.
Yep. This is just a man, and he is doing all of this. Anyway. So, Samson told them, because you did this thing, I swear I won't rest until I have taken vengeance on you. He basically just went like, I'm going to tear you apart. And then they went up and camped in Judah, and some of the men of Judah said, why have you attacked us? They replied, we've come to tie Samson up and pay him back for what he did to us. And then 3,000 men of Judah came to the cave of the rock and had him. And they asked Samson, don't you realize that the Philistines rule us? What have you done to us? He came back to camp, and they were just like, dude, you're an idiot. What were you thinking? They can literally destroy us. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
He's like, I've done to them what they did to me. He straight up just owned it, man. He said they fricked me over, so I fricked them over. That's literally what he said.
Exactly.
Oh, my God. Anyways, they said to him, we've come to tie you up and hand you over to the Philistines. They basically said, we're giving you up. Like, we're not going to die for your sake, bro. For your pride.
You're a nuisance.
Yes, yes. Your pride and wanting to keep your woman so desperately has cost you. Anyway. Then Samson told them, swear to me that you yourselves won't kill me. They said, we won't kill you, but we will tie you up securely and hand you over to them. They tied him up with 2 new ropes, and tied them and led him away from the rock. When he came to Lehi, I don't think that's how that's said. The Philistines came to meet him, shouting, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully on him, and the ropes just suddenly weren't there. They became like burnt flax and just fell off. That is some anime level stuff right there. Suddenly just melting. Anyway, he found a fresh jawbone of a donkey. This is where he gets really good. Again, reached out his hand, took it, and killed 1,000 men with it. Then Samson said, with the jawbone of a donkey, I've piled them in heaps. With the jawbone of a donkey, I've killed 10,000 men. All right, I'm going to once again. This is what I'm saying. A lot of what I am doing, I've heard a bunch of sermons on. I'm quoting yet another one. Someone said this would have rhymed in the original language, right? Like he basically just said he killed 1,000 people, and then I'm gonna quote what they said. He's like, with the jawbone of an ass, I have killed the men of mass. With the jawbone of an ass, I had a blast. And then just dropped it, just left it there. He threw away the jawbone and named that place Ramath Lehi. Which I would actually be interested to know what that means. High place.
Lehi.
Yeah, which actually just means high place of the jawbone.
Bruh.
He said, I'm just going to name this place a high place of a jawbone. Basically, I just murdered people with a jawbone. Anyway.
I wonder where that is modern day.
Honestly, I might look into that after we're done with this. Anyway.
Yeah, go ahead and do that, dude.
Right now? Okay, hang on. Let's
just do it.
Let's see. We're talking about where...
Yeah,
modern
day Ramath Lehi or Lehi. I don't know.
Day Ramath. I can spell. Don't question this.
You can.
Oh wait. Ramath Lehi. Yeah, it had a. Did it have a hyphen or was it just?
Yeah, it's hyphenated.
Yeah. Okay.
And Lehi isn't capitalized either. Just Ramath.
Be found. Let's see. Okay, so let's read through this. Jawbone Hill is what it's actually English called, by the way.
Jawbone Hill.
Yeah. So now where's that? Hang on. Let's look this up.
Yeah.
Jawbone Hill. It's in Israel. Well, that makes sense.
Yes. But where in Israel?
That is interesting. There's like pictures of evidence that this happened, right? There's like skulls and junk, and they found like they said that this is basically. Let's see if this might give it a good image. This might get... Nope, that's just a link. I don't want that. How do I open this? I don't think I can. Oh, well. Yeah, no, it's a place, and it legitimately looks like a place where you would slaughter 1,000 men with a jawbone. Oh, here we go. This is a good place for it. I guess that's it? I don't know. Yeah. Either way, it's in freaking Israel. So that's good to know. I bet you anything you can visit this place, like, as a thing. Holy smokes, imagine being able to do that. That'd be great. That would be awesome.
That'd be so funny.
Yeah, alright, so we figured that out. And then, after he just said the most, like, booming poem and then threw away the jawbone like he dropped a mic, he became very thirsty, which, by the way, is the first time we've seen weakness. You've accomplished this great victory through your servant. Now must I now die of thirst? Basically said, dude, I'm literally just thirsty. Please help me before I die of thirst. And God put a hollow place in the ground at Lehi, and water came out of it after Samson drank. So basically, he had another rock that water just came out of. His strength returned, and he revived. That is why he named it. Holy smokes! Can you pronounce this, or do I?
En Hakor.
Okay, okay,
I don't know. My vowels might be wrong, but
okay. Well,
En Hakor.
it's better than what I would have said. So, which is
Yeah.
still in Lehigh today. Which I'm
Lehigh.
wondering if that, um, when that was quoted, if like you're talking about when this was written rather than right now, right? So it's
Yeah.
very different. But, um, and he judged Israel 20 years in the days of the Philistines. So basically, after this happened, he got the man got mad, went on a kill spree, and God said was just like, I'm judging the frick out of y'all. So yeah, and then here we
Yeah.
go, Samson and Delilah. By the way, if this is not the most obvious, like this is probably the most well-known story, the Samson
Yeah.
and Delilah. And in my
Yes.
opinion, the best romantic comedy there is.
Oh gosh.
sorry, that
Well,
like.
despite the fact that this is just so immoral of what just goes on
Yeah,
between the two of
absolutely.
them.
Which is, by the way, what most rom-coms are anyway. But
Yeah, I suppose so.
so like I said, Sandstrom. Anyway, Samson and Delilah. Samson went to Gaza where he saw a prostitute and went to bed with her. Yeah, okay. When the
Yeah.
the Gazites, how the frick is
Yeah.
that pronounced? Anyway,
The Gazites.
the Gazites heard that Samson was there. They surrounded the place and waited in an ambush for him, and all that night at the city gate they kept quiet all night, saying, "Let's wait until dawn, then we will kill him." But Samson stayed in bed until only midnight. This dude woke up midway through, like he slept with a woman, right? And he woke up at midnight and just left.
Didn't even stay for the morning after. How
Nah,
dare
he didn't have eggs, bacon, and waffles. He just said, "I'm out. Peace."
I'm
Then he
out.
got up, took up the hold of the doors of the city gate, along with the 2 gate posts. He pulled them out, bar and all, and he put them on his shoulders and took them to the top of the mountain overlooking Hebron. All right, now I need to know. I want photo proof of this.
Yeah. So he just straight up stole their gates.
He just said they
put
waited
'em on
outside
top
the
of a
gate.
different hill.
So I just moved the gate. He said, "That's so good, man. That's like Monsters Inc. replacing the door level stuff right there."
Oh my gosh.
Hang on.
Oh my gosh.
So let me look this up. It said it overlooks Hebron. Wait, can I just search up? What city was he in? Let's see.
The
Gaza. Yeah. Okay. So
The Gazites.
Gaza. Once I spell things correctly.
Yeah.
Gaza.
They literally heard Samson was there, and they're like,
Okay,
"Yo,
let's see if this
kill
is a
him.
thing.
Kill him.
Is this
Absolutely destroy him."
Does that gate still stand, just overlooking Hebron? No, I don't think it does.
I don't think it would, unless
don't either.
somebody thought, "Hey, let's preserve this for the generations to come."
I mean,
You know?
at this point, there's some weird crowd that was just there, but the fact that he just like hightailed out with a freaking gateway on his back, like, he just said, "Guys, I'm out of there." Yeah, I don't see any like pictures of where it would be. Oh well. That would have been really funny, though.
That would've been, yeah.
There's just a gate standing alone on a mountaintop.
Yeah.
All right.
Imagine
Anyway.
somebody just seeing that the next morning and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
this would be a really neat historical place. Let's preserve it." And
Yeah.
just preserving it for the next several thousand
Yeah.
years. Like, are you kidding me?
Pretty much, yeah. By the way, if you need more proof that this is a romantic comedy, the first scene is not Delilah. So he has not met her yet. So this is just a random woman. Once again,
yeah.
we're lining up with some of the more modern day romantic comedies.
Exactly. But then come verse 4.
Sometime later, he fell in love.
Another city. He goes to another city. He finds another woman, and he sleeps with her.
Yep. Welcome. This is, by the way, so, history will repeat itself in different forms every time. Therefore, once again, you see how Samson, by the way, we look at Samson's life, and then we're like, well, God told him not to do these things, and he just did them. But we look at it our way, and we're thinking, this is just, oh, no, this isn't that bad. I'm like, dude, it's literally the same story.
no, culturally, this was horrendous.
Yes, he was just horrible.
His people. It was just absolutely deplorable.
Yes.
And he was the last judge ever recorded in the Book of Judges. Yep. So, just the quality of the judges just declines over time.
Yep.
And this man is the last of the last, absolutely scum of the earth to these people.
Yep.
And he delivered them from the Philistines.
Yep.
So, like,
exactly. What by the way, another story of why God can take trash and make it work for his plan. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sometime later, he fell in love with a woman named Delilah who lived in the Sorek Valley. The Philistine leaders went to her and said, "Persuade him to tell you where his great strength comes from." So once again, this man has fallen in love, and people took notice and used the woman to manipulate him again.
Yeah.
This is what stupidity looks like. Anyway, so we can overpower him, tie him up, and make him helpless.
Absolute simp.
Yes, exactly. Each of us will give you 1,100 pieces of silver, which at the time would have made you like filthy rich. So Delilah said to Samson, "Please tell me, where does your great strength come from? How could someone tie you up and make you helpless?" Samson told her, "If they tie me up with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried, I will become weak and be like any other man." Where this now happens basically in a row, where Samson now just gets like brutally attacked, tied up, and then he just goes, Super Saiyan again and just tears them apart, and then they just can't tie him up. Anyway, then we get to the they did this with, I believe, bowstrings, new ropes, and then I think that was it. There was 2 of them, and then on the 3rd attempt, Delilah comes back and she says, "You have mocked me all along and told me lies." Which, by the way, once again, this dude really be gaslighting. Anyway, you have mocked me all along and told me lies.
Girl boss. Let me tell you.
Gatekeeper. Yeah, he's definitely one of those.
Gate stealer, bro.
Yeah. Tell me how you can be tied up. He told her, "If you weave the 7 braids of my head." So once again, he fools Delilah again. This time, he just tells her to put a weave on his hair. So he's moved up the body a little bit here, and he's like, so now he's in the wrong area. Now he's getting there, and he's like, it does have something to do with his head. Anyway, so they failed again, and she goes, "How can you say I love you?" Once again, another woman looked at him dead in the eye and said, "Do you actually love me, or are you just, faking it?" She told him, when your heart is not with me, or how can you say I love you? She told him, when your heart is not with me. This is the 3rd time you have mocked me and not told me what makes your strength so great. By the way, if he took 3 attempts to not realize that she was telling them these things, why would you ever, I would have been just out. I'd have been like, "Oh, you actually are just selling me out here. How did this guy just not know that was happening?" Anyway.
Or unless he did know and he was just toying with them.
Because she nagged him day after day and pleaded with him until she wore him out. This man held up, and she just wore him down, man. This is where this is where social battery would have just been gone, right?
Yeah.
I would have been done. I would have been like, "Gosh, dang it, I gotta go take a nap, bro. It's my hair. Get the frick out of my hair." He said, "My hair has never been cut because I am a Nazirite to God from birth. If I am shaved, my strength will leave me, and I will become weak and be like any other man." When Delilah realized that he had told her the whole truth, she sent his message. So, by the way, she's still on their side, despite the fact that he's just vulnerable. The Philistine leaders come one more time, for he has told me the whole truth. Then she let him fall asleep on her lap. By the way, this man really is stupid. This woman, she just proved to you 4 reasons that she can't be trusted, and then you just took a nap on her lap after you just told her your greatest secret. Anyway, she shaved his head off while he was asleep, and there's nothing there's no. How do you not feel that? What the frick?
Yes. Well, here, let me just say this. He still was technically lying when he said that his strength came from his hair.
Yeah.
So, really, we've heard this several times already. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. Spirit of the Lord came upon him. That's where his actual strength came from. It's not from his hair. This isn't some magic hair type Rapunzel tangled type of stuff.
Nope.
No, this is the spirit of the Lord. So he's still technically lying to her face.
Yeah, I think.
But this is where he truly believes his strength came from.
This is when
from his hair.
Yeah, this is when over all these years now he has literally sincerely thought, he's gotten to the point where he is certain that his hair is his strength, right?
Yeah.
Which if you're a man at a young age and you're single, your hair is doing some work for you. But not that kind of work. Anyway, so basically, you're talking about she just shaved his head, which, by the way, it boggles me. This man is asleep, and she's just cutting his hair, and he just doesn't feel it. Like, what? How dead of a sleep? I mean, he is worn out.
Yeah, but let's think. He probably thought she was just playing with his hair as he was sleeping. So, like, none the wiser.
True, but also, she did wear him down. Like, they said it. She wore him out.
Yeah.
Like, he was, like, socially fried, and I can tell you, a nap after someone has just drove you to the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Feels good.
Absolutely refreshing. It's fantastic.
It's refreshing, but then when someone shaves your head while you're doing it, then you're like, maybe I should never sleep again. Anyway. So now you finally see him give up. I think the principle here is that, yes, the Spirit of the Lord did provide him with strength, but the Lord also told him to keep these things sacred, and he went against that, which he's been doing the whole time.
His hair was like the last straw.
He was like, we had one last thing.
One last
thread of hair was holding him with God's spirit. Basically, when he cut his hair, that was it. He cut his hair, and God said, "I'm cutting ties." Anyway, the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes. Yes, this is getting real violent. They brought him down to Gaza and bound him with bronze shackles. He was forced to grind grain in the prison while his eyes were just gone, by the way. But his hair began to grow back after it had been shaved. Read your version of that, verse 22.
Yeah, I'll start at 21. And the Philistines seized him and gouged out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with bronze shackles. And he ground at the mill in the prison. But the hair of his head began to grow again after it had been shaved.
There was let me see this really quick. I know there was, I don't know, I'm not going to say it because I'm not verifying it, but I do remember thinking that one version said it immediately started to grow back. Like, it was very quick to come back, but I don't know for sure if that's true.
Let me look through my notes in my Bible.
It may not be true, but it might have been NIV.
Yeah, here, note for 16:22. Hair began to grow. His hair grew with his repentance, and his strength with his hair.
Okay. Which once again proves that it's not the hair.
No.
Now the Philistine leaders gathered together to offer a great sacrifice to their god Dagon.
Dagon.
I read that as Dagon. I apologize.
Yeah.
There's someone listening that might be like, wait a minute. No, they rejoiced and said, "Our God has handed over our enemy Samson to us." When the people, so they were praising a false god at this point. When the people saw him, they praised their God and said, "Our God has handed us over to us, our enemy, and who destroyed our land and who multiplied our dead." who burnt your fields with foxtails that were lit on fire, and killed 1,000 of your men with a jawbone. Yeah. I can see why you're happy. When they were in good spirits, they said, "Bring Samson here to entertain us." They brought Samson from prison. He entertained them. They had him stand between the pillars. Samson said to the young man who was leading him by the hand, "Lead me where I can feel the pillars supporting the temple." By the way, a lot of images have him chained to these. He was not chained. He was free to roam.
Yeah.
And he was not in his. He did not have his strength. Yes, he's blind, but he also doesn't have his strength.
He can't do anything. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's not going to be able to fight back, right? So they had him just free, right? And so he told the man, "Here, let me." Samson said to the young man who was leading him by the hand, "Lead me where I can feel the pillars supporting the temple, so I can lean against them." The temple was full of men and women, and all the leaders of the Philistines were there. So basically, they brought all their people together in one place,
There were about 3,000 men and women So that's probably more
No.
like 6,000 people.
Yeah, we're on the roof. That was it. They were watching from the rooftops. He called out to the
Yeah.
Lord, Lord God, please remember me. Strengthen me, God, just once more. With one act of vengeance, let me pay back the Philistines for my 2 eyes. That man said, I don't give a frick about what they did the last time. Just, I want my eyes, bro. This is revenge for the eyes.
Revenge for my eyeballs.
Hashtag
I may never
vengeance for
look,
the...
I may never simp for a woman again.
Vengeance is sight. Yeah, well, you can't, because, this is where the story ends. Anyway,
Yeah,
Samson
exactly.
took hold of the middle pillars supporting the temple and leaned against them, and on his right hand and on the other on his left, Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. He pushed with all his might, and the temple fell on the leaders, and
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 upon
all
all the people
yeah,
who were in it.
yes, and those he killed at his death were more than those he had killed in his life. Which, by the way, this man did some damage in his life, so you're talking racking numbers up there.
Talk about a human weapon. Let
Yeah.
me tell you, this man. You read fiction, superhero fiction, where these people are probably like born in labs and trained at the young age to become these weapons. Nah, dude, this guy, born organic from a woman who couldn't conceive, was told to have a specific diet and not to cut his hair. And man absolutely destroyed this singular nation of people.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
dude. Dude.
So
Absolutely cracked.
So you're talking about stuff you would watch in like Marvel or anime.
DC,
Yes.
anime, like,
This dude was
heck.
just doing that anyway. He just said, I
Yeah.
don't need animation behind my, by my side. I have my own strength.
No, forget about the power of God in anime. I just have God.
God. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, so that's the gist of just the judges we went over today.
And there are, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14
Yeah.
different, there are, I think 14 different judges.
Yes.
And the book of Judges is 21 chapters long.
Yep.
So
People fricked up. That's what happened.
yeah. Well, let this be a lesson to anybody who listens. I don't know how far this will get in the future, but anybody out there who is willing to go at Israel, don't. Just don't. Because they will cry out to the God of the universe, and he will listen because he is their father. And Dad will come and kick you into the dirt. Like,
he will kick you in your
shins.
stomp
You.
Yes.
Just rip you atom from atom.
And
he
he might
use
a Samson to do it.
Yeah, he will raise up another Samson to come after you and absolutely destroy you. Like, dude.
Yep.
Don't if there's any future world leaders out there who will listen to this, don't touch Israel. Just leave them alone. Leave them alone. I know later in the future, like, the people are Israel's gonna get attacked again, but like, please, for the sake of just letting us have a little bit of peace for a little while longer, don't mess with Israel.
Yeah.
Don't mess with Israel. Don't mess with Israel. Don't touch them. Don't look at them. Don't breathe in action. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yep. I mean, you talk about the idea of, like, don't mess with this God, because clearly he has power, right?
Yeah.
Is the same, like, people, and this is where Old Testament plays into the New Testament a lot, with the idea of this God was, like, ruining nations, right? With just, like, by the way, just how casually he was doing so. He's just like, I'm just going to use a single dude to kind of just wipe out a nation, right? Like, he could just do that without even really thinking twice about it. I said, and, you connect that to the dots where it's like, well, he's doing this towards people who are sinning against him, who don't have favor in him, right? Israel is still in favor of God. And so, like, he's like, I'm bringing you down, boys. And so, but then he also sent, For the same reason Samson was used here, by the way, the Philistines dominated Israel at this time. Samson was sent to deliver them, right? With the same, the same narrative happens over and over again in Scripture where, they're in despair, exile, they're cast out, they're seen as, low lifes, whatever you put there. They're basically owned by the world. Yes. God says, nah, every time. And then he sends Jesus in New Testament to do just that for the whole of humanity to anyone who will receive it.
Yes.
So this right here is a microcosm of literally the entirety of Scripture, and then the entirety
the Gospels
of God's plan is legitimately to deliver his people, but he did it in smaller sections until he get to the Gospels, which is essentially just him doing it for the whole world, and then after that, it's just here we are. But yeah, I mean, this is legitimately like cool to see just how even in like we've been making jokes and cracking up about this, but this is serious junk. Like this junk went down.
Oh yeah.
As a serious thing, like God was not pleased with this. Like this was not good.
This is history. This is the history of all the peoples of the world. It all starts from just this one group of people. And everybody was affected by their existence. Exactly. Like, it's absolutely wild.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that was the gist of this podcast for sure.
Oh yeah. We got a good hour, almost 2 hours.
Hour 25 right now.
Yeah.
This will be uploaded, I believe, next Tuesday at 12 p.m. on YouTube. For those who are watching this on YouTube, it's you're welcome.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, that'll do it for this sober mumblings episode.
Sober mumblings indeed.
Yep.
Let me tell you.
The village idiots, Joe and Q, having a good old time here. Yeah. All right.
Yep. Well, this has been great.
On to the next podcast. We'll see what that involves as it comes. But yeah, anyway, I'll peace out.
Yep. See ya. Bye.